Hi there guys, my name's Craig from Non-Stop Kids Entertainment, and on this week's vlog I'm going to be talking to you about huge problems that entertainers face and how it can affect your party if you're not careful. If you're thinking of hiring a children's entertainer for your child's party, there's normally one of two reasons why people do that. The first reason is they want their party to be awesome and they know that hiring a children's entertainer is the best way to do that. The other reason is they just don't want the hassle. They don't want to have to worry about entertaining 30 kids themselves for 2 hours. Now you might have a different reason, but what you probably don't understand is that entertainers, when they come and entertain at children's parties, there's certain common problems that occur again and again and again. And these problems can cause your entertainer to not perform to the best of their ability. It can affect the quality of their show. Now, it's not your responsibility to have to deal with these problems. You pay the entertainer money. It's their job to come along and do the best job that they can do. But if you, as a parent, are aware of these problems and maybe can put something in place to stop these problems from happening, it means that your entertainer will be able to focus on the job that you've hired them to do, which is entertain the children, and it might even make their performance a little bit better. So in today's vlog, what I thought I'd do is go through these common problems that entertainers face when they get to a party, just so that you're aware of them, and then it's your decision as to whether you do something about it or not when you hire a child's entertainer. Let's count them down. Finding the venue. What you need to understand is that children's entertainers, they really care about their job, and they want to make sure that when they come and perform at your child's party, they do everything right. So they want to get there early, they don't want to do an awesome job. A lot of children's entertainers, they work on word of mouth, and they don't want to be stressed out, but there's certain things that can stress them out, and finding the venue is one of them. If your entertainer has left loads of time to come and get you and come to your venue, if they can't find the venue and they're driving around, it can stress them out, and that can sometimes affect their party. Now that can happen an awful lot in a rural area or somewhere where the postcodes don't really work out. So a nice thing to do is just to make sure that your entertainer can find the venue nice and easily. Make sure they've got the correct postcode. If it's a little bit tricky to find, like, oh, you've got to go down this lane and around the back of this building and then through this tunnel and so on and so forth, make sure that they're aware of that information. And a nice thing to do is leave balloons outside the venue or a banner with your child's name on it saying happy birthday. So when your entertainer's looking for the venue, they can find it nice and easily. And the other thing is, make sure you keep your phone switched on, because if the entertainer can't find you and is trying to ring you saying, help, I need to find you, I want to come and start performing at this party, it's nice to be able to get in touch with you. So number one, make sure your entertainer can find the venue. Make sure that you leave a parking space for your entertainer as well. This can sometimes be a real nightmare. I remember I performed at a party once, and there was no parking space available at all at the venue, and the nearest parking space was like 10 minutes drive away. But I hadn't accounted for that, and I wasn't told about that. And so what happened is I arrived at the venue, realized there was no parking. I had to quickly unload all of my equipment, which when you're doing a full 2-hour package is a lot of equipment. And then I had to go and drive off and find somewhere to park and then run back. Run back to get to the venue. I got there about 5 minutes before the kids were meant to be coming in, and I was able to set everything up, but it was a real stretch. It was a real stressful situation. I was worried I wasn't even going to be in the building when the kids came in. So the way to get around this is just to make sure that you leave a parking space for the entertainer. If you've got a venue with lots of parking, it's normally not an issue. But if you haven't got a venue with a lot of parking, make sure that you speak to the venue and make sure that they allocate one, because you want to make sure that your entertainer can get in, get loaded in quickly, and then get out, because in all likelihood they're going to be going on to another party afterwards, and you don't want your entertainer worrying about how he's going to have to finish bang on time so that he has to go and get his car from 10 minutes down the road and bring it back to the venue. You want to have your entertainer in a situation where he's nice and chilled, or she's nice and chilled, so that they can focus on the thing that's most important, which is obviously entertaining at your child's party. Number 3, make sure there's a place that they can very easily load their equipment into the venue. You probably don't realise this, but a children's entertainer takes a lot of equipment. Most entertainers will have a PA system, they'll have a mixing desk, they'll probably have lights as well, and a T-bar or some sort of rig. Then if they're doing a show, they're going to have a whole bunch of props for that as well. I mean, at Non-Stop Kids Entertainment, we take PA system, lights, we take two or three bags full of props, we take a big box, a lot of equipment. It can take 3 or 4 trips trips back and forth from the car. And I've been to venues sometimes where the car park is like a 7-minute walk away from the venue, which means that you're going to spend absolutely ages loading equipment in. And it's a little bit similar to parking, really far away. It can stress your entertainer out. Oh my gosh, am I going to get everything in on time? So the way around that is just make sure that the venue understands that you are going to have your entertainer load some equipment in. Even if they just pull up for a second, load the equipment in and then go and park, that makes things so much easier for your entertainer. And then they're there relaxed and calm. They can focus on entertaining the children at the party rather than running back in stressed and sweating from doing 3 or 4 trips from the car. The most important thing for the entertainer is to make sure that they do a great job for your children, and that's one thing that you can do. Also, you have to understand that there can be certain distractions at parties. So a perfect example of this is a bouncy castle. A lot of parents, what they'll do is they'll book an entertainer and then they'll book a bouncy castle as well. But the thing with booking a bouncy castle is it's very hard to grab people's attention or grab kids' attention when there's a bouncy castle off in the distance that they can bounce on. So my advice to you is if you've booked a bouncy castle, do one of 2 things. The first thing is just book your entertainer for an hour to come along and do a show, so they can maybe go on the bouncy castle for the first half hour, then your entertainer does a show for an hour, and then they can have food or go back on the bouncy castle. Or the other option is if you want the entertainer there for the entire time, that's cool, but during the show make sure the bouncy castle is switched off. It only takes like a minute to power a bouncy castle down, and then your entertainer can say, right kids, okay, we're going to do the show right now, the bouncy castle over there, we're going to bring it down, it'll come straight back on after the show. That way it's not a distraction. It's not like your entertainer is having to fight against the appeal of a bouncy castle. It's really important to do that. So try and make sure that if you've got a bouncy castle, your entertainer's not fighting against it. And likewise, another example of distractions are balloons. What I see at a lot of parties is parents will have balloons. They'll blow up balloons and put them all over the floor so that when the kids come in, there's like balloons everywhere and they're all playing with them, which is really cool. But if you've booked an entertainer to come and do a magic show and there's balloons everywhere, sometimes the balloons can be a bit of a distraction because they'll be doing the show and the kids will be holding the balloons and then accidentally drop it and then another kid will pick it up, and before you know it there's balloons banging all over the place and the entertainer's trying to get the kids' attention. So there's 2 options with this. First of all, don't blow them up in the first place. I don't think that's the best option because they do look cool when you come into the venue and the kids are all playing with them. But another way of dealing with it is just let the entertainer push the balloons to the back of the room. The entertainer can go, right kids, we're going to start the show right now. We just want everyone to have if you can grab a balloon and put it at the back of the room, you can have the balloons back when I've finished the show. That way, there's no balloons near the area where the entertainer's performing, and it means that the kids can focus on the most important thing, which is watching the show. And then I've got one last piece of advice for you, one last thing, one last problem, and this is the big problem that entertainers face that can cause an issue, which is toddlers that are running around during the show, kind of distracting all the other children. Now, generally, as a rule, a children's entertainer will do a show that will work across all ages, but you've got to understand with a toddler, 1 or 2 years old, under 3s is what I'm talking about. They can be running around all the time, and it's not really that they're being naughty, they're just being curious. To a 1-year-old, everything's magic. You put the light on, it's magic. So it's very difficult to get a child of sort of 2 or 1 to sit down for 45 minutes and watch a show. But what happens a lot of the time at parties is all the children will sit down, and parents with younger children will plonk the kids there as well. And then what will happen is the younger children will get up and start running around and run in front of the entertainer while the entertainer's trying to do a show. There's 2 problems with this. The first problem is it distracts all the other children. Now, your entertainer probably can make it funny and make a joke of it the first couple of times it happens, but if it constantly keeps happening every 2 or 3 minutes, what's happening is your entertainer is becoming a babysitter instead of an entertainer. He's having to babysit the children. And if he's having to babysit the children and constantly sit the children down, it means that he can't focus on entertaining. He's not doing the job. He is doing the job, he's not doing as well as he could, okay? The other thing is, from a health and safety point of view, you have to, a lot of entertainers will have stuff in their magic table that could be dangerous to a younger child. You never know what's in there. And I've seen children in the past, and what's happened is they've gone around the back of the entertainer without the entertainer realising, and started taking stuff from the table, and this stuff could really hurt a younger child. So my advice to you if you've got younger children, do one of two things. Firstly, sit down in the audience with the kids. If you've got a younger child, or if you've got a parent at your party that's got a younger child, get them to sit down with the kids. That way, they can control their child. So rather than the entertainer having to say, right, hang on, stop the show for a minute. Come on, come and sit back down. Come and sit back down. You're there to make sure that doesn't happen, so the show is flowing better. Or, put the child there, but make sure you keep an eye on that child. So if the child does get up and run around, it's something that you can deal with. I've got a 2-year-old daughter. She runs around like a crazy girl. She really does. And when I take her to parties, I make sure she's sitting on my lap during the show. Okay? Look, the bottom line is, here's the bottom line. You don't have to do any of this stuff, because at the end of the day, you're the customer. You've paid that entertainer to come along and do a party for you. And you could literally just let them do the party and just walk off, and they'll have to do the best job that they can do. All I'm saying in this vlog is there's certain things that if you're mindful of them, your entertainer can do a better job. Without a shadow of a doubt, if your entertainer doesn't have to worry about bouncy castles or balloons or loading into venues or babysitting toddlers, they are going to do a much better job of running that party than if they're constantly having to worry about that sort of stuff. So you don't have to do anything about it, but it is nice if you do. Anyway, if you would like to book Non-Stop Kids to come and perform at your child's party, or you'd like a no obligation consultation, just give us a call on 0333 3013002, or check out our website at www.nonstopkids.co.uk. We'd happily chat through with you about the different options and try and put a package together that'll fit in your budget. And please don't forget to subscribe to this channel down here. We put stuff every single week on this channel for parents so that you know what to do to make sure that your child has an amazing party. Whatever happens, guys, have a fantastic week. My name's Craig from Non-Stop Kids Entertainment, and I'll see you again next week.